Everyone online keeps saying that
digital products are too saturated.
But here's the truth. Nothing is saturated if it solves a real problem. I've made $9,131 per week selling these 5 simple digital products, all created in Canva and sold with the help of our friend Chatty, aka ChatGPT. And in this video, I'm gonna break down what they are, why they still work, and how you can start selling them too. So let's dive in. All right, the first digital product is AI prompt packs. Now, as I said earlier, no digital products are oversaturated if your digital product solves a real painful problem. And I just want to reiterate that
it's not like, oh, courses are saturated, but memberships aren't.
It doesn't matter the type of digital product. What will actually help it sell and stand out is by having it solve a real painful problem. The type of digital product doesn't matter. Now, with AI prompt packs, you can make sure to really solve a real problem. In fact, this is something that we sell as an order bump on our checkout page for Freedom Creator Club. We have an AI prompt pack. So it's actually a bunch of AI prompts and a training on how to use them to actually be able to create and sell your digital product faster. And now we all know that ChatGPT is super helpful, but it's only as helpful as you know how to use it and train it. And so having good prompts is super important. So this is a really great digital product that still sells super well right now. In fact, over 60% of people who buy Freedom Creator Club, they click to add the order bump of our AI prompts. So I know for a fact with data that these sell really well, but they don't sell because they're AI prompts. They sell because they're AI prompts that will help you make sales with your digital product faster. So as you see, it's not about the type of digital product, but rather making sure that the positioning and what the digital product does actually solves a painful problem. So ask yourself, who are you serving and what problems do they have? And how could you help them solve those problems even faster with great ready-to-use AI prompts? And then how can you package that and sell that as an AI prompt pack? And if you want to come along with me to learn my full process of how to come up with your profitable digital product idea that will actually sell, how to grow a following of people who actually want to buy your digital product, how to launch it for your first sales, and how to automate it for consistent passive income, then go ahead and snag your seat to my completely free training. It is the first link in the description below this video. All right, the next unsaturated digital product is workshops. Now, when I say workshops, I don't mean webinars. These are two different things. When I say workshop, think of an in-person workshop, okay? But this one's gonna be online, and that's what makes it a digital product. You can teach through places like Zoom or Google Meet, or you can pre-record it with tools like Loom. The key here is to think of something that you're gonna be able to teach in 30 to 60 minutes that will get someone a true transformation. So again, just like an in-person workshop, the other month I took a workshop about pottery. And so how it worked was I bought my ticket for the workshop, but the workshop wasn't that day, right? I bought my ticket in advance. The workshop was like a couple weeks out. Then I showed up and it was just a one-day workshop. I learned a bunch of stuff and I left. And so when it comes to making this digital, you're still gonna be able to sell the tickets to the workshop in advance. And you can pick the date to be like 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out. And then the great thing is you're actually able to then pre-sell people to the workshop, which gives you the confidence to know that it's actually going to sell before you actually have to create it. So let's say you want to test an idea of what you would teach in a workshop, the title, all that stuff to make sure it sells. Put that out there in a checkout page, see if it sells. If it does sell, you told them the workshop is X weeks out, right? So now you have X amount of weeks to prepare the slides and the bullets and all that stuff for the actual workshop. Now, typically my workshops are 30 minutes teaching, 30 minutes Q&A, which makes them super easy. This, in my opinion, is the best digital product to get started with. It's absolutely not too saturated as long as you make sure that it's actually going to get them a result and helps them overcome a painful problem they're having. Now, I have sold a ton of these workshops. The last one I did, though, was several years ago, and it was all about TikTok. It sold super well, and what I did was I sold tickets to it in advance. Then I had a few weeks to actually create the workshop. I delivered the workshop live, and then I also gave the recording to anyone who bought it. And then I also went on to continue selling the recording over and over and over again. This is the easiest and fastest digital product to just get up and running, start making sales, start teaching, and just really start your digital products career. Like, I cannot recommend this type of digital product enough. Okay, number 3 is mini courses. First, let's talk about what is a mini course versus a course. And really, in my opinion, it's just a shorter version of a course. So for me, if I'm teaching a course, this is gonna be like a pretty in-depth curriculum, right? Like let's say I'm helping people get to 6 figures. There's gonna be a lot in there. There's gonna be legal, business, marketing, sales. Like there's gonna be a lot of stuff taught in there. That's gonna be a pretty big and robust course, right? Whereas a mini course, I like to teach just like one specific thing. And that's why these sell so well. And they don't have to be these big, massive, 6, 7, 8, 9 module courses, right? So one of the mini courses we sell right now is called our Flash Sale System. This is actually an upsell for Freedom Creator Club. So when someone goes to the checkout page, they buy Freedom Creator Club. There's an order bump they can add. Then when they hit purchase, there is an upsell number 1 and an upsell number 2. Upsell number 2 is our Flash Sale System. We sell it for $99 and it is a mini course. So it's a succinct, to the point mini course that's a collection of like templates, videos, and scripts. And what it does is it teaches them how to have flash sales, promotions, like a holiday sale, a birthday sale, a Black Friday sale. This flash sale system is great to use for promotions or a cash injection, right? And so this sells super, super well. About 10% of everyone who buys Freedom Creator Club, they also add on this upsell. And the reason it sells so well is not because it's a mini course, but because it actually solves a problem. It's like, oh, I don't know how to run promotions. I don't know how to make cash injections. And also the thing that they're wanting is more sales. And that's exactly what this helps them do, is they take a product that's already selling, they do these promotions and flash sales, and they make even more sales with it. And if you want to work with me to learn all of my strategies from coming up with your profitable digital product idea to launching it for your first sales to automating it for consistent passive income, and you want to get your hands on all my tools, scripts, and templates, be sure to register for my totally free on-demand training. It's the first link in the description below this video. All right, number 4, and this is one of my favorites, and that is memberships. So again, the reason this is unsaturated is not because it is a membership, right? It's going to sell because you make sure that it addresses an actual painful problem that your audience is having, right? So let's take my membership, Freedom Creator Club, for example. This membership has sold well since day 1. In fact, I remember launching this, I believe it was either February or March of 2023. All I had was the idea for the membership, a couple trainings, and a checkout page. And I sold in the first members, and then I kept adding to the membership every single month. And I started off really simple. I started off just creating videos with Loom. So just recording every single thing that I did. These were not super high quality, but they got the job done. They showed people exactly how I did everything. I built up the program while I was selling in more people. And then just this year, so 2 years later, I went back and redid all the modules and lessons to be high quality, just like the quality of these videos. But I didn't start there, and I didn't make all the lessons and everything before I sold members in. And that also is key, because the worst thing I see is when people spend weeks, months, years building out a digital product. I know that's a red flag that they're probably not going to make sales because they're so fixated on the quality of the video, the quality of the audio, how they look on camera, when really you need to be concerned about, are you helping people? Are people interested in this? Are you actually going to make sales? And then once you start making sales, then you can iterate and make your program better while you continue to make more sales as well. This has worked flawlessly for me with Freedom Creator Club, and I cannot recommend it more. The other thing I love about memberships is it's kind of like a course, but just with a better pricing model, right? So like a course, there are modules with lessons inside them. Like a course, there is a community. Most courses come with a community, right? Like a course, it comes with weekly Q&A calls. A lot of courses have weekly Q&A calls. But here's the difference. The difference is that with memberships, you have what's called MRR, monthly recurring revenue, or ARR, annual recurring revenue, because people can buy monthly or annually, depending on how you set up your pricing. And then the best part is you start every single month not with sales at 0. Because if you don't have recurring revenue and you're just selling a course for say $300, well, people buy the course over and over and you make $300, $300, which is great. But then next month, if you're not hustling to make more sales, the sales stop. But with a membership, let's say you go really hard one month and then you're sick the next month, you're still at least going to have the recurring revenue. So I really like the membership model. I just think it makes for a much more solid business foundation. All right, number 5 is ebooks. And this one is near and dear to my heart because this is kind of how I got started. This is how I made my first what felt like a ton of money, right? So You know, a lot of you know I had this ebook. It was $59 for the 3 years it was for sale. I made over $500,000 with it, with a $59 ebook. And then when I pivoted to this business to teach digital products, I actually sold the IP to another educator. So I was able to sell it again, which is super cool. But I love talking about this ebook because even though I had digital products that made even more money than that, this one's near and dear to me because it just worked so well. It was so profitable. We never had to run ads. It sold mostly by word of mouth marketing. And solely it was because, like I've shared in this video a million times, it was because it solved the most painful problem my ideal clients were having, right? These were photographers who wanted to book more shoots. And so it was a 13-page ebook that showed them step-by-step with screenshots, word-for-word scripts, everything to post, how to book more clients. And it actually worked. And so people would get insane results. Like, we're talking testimonials of people making 6 figures from this $59 ebook, which is insane. And then they would go and they would tell their friends, they would post in groups, they would shout it from the rooftops. And of course they would, right? I mean, they spent $59 and made a ton of money. So they want to tell everyone about it. And then what happens? You get more sales, more sales, more sales. Like, I really hope if you take nothing else away from this video, take away the importance of a digital product that actually gets people results. Like, I really cannot stress that enough, because when you do that, the marketing becomes easy, running the business becomes easy, everything becomes so much easier. So really think about what can you help people with and how can you actually get them a result. Now, the other thing I love about ebooks is they are really easy to create right now, especially with ChatGPT, but just make sure that you're using ChatGPT as an assistant, right? As a draft. You need to go in, add your personality, your stories, make sure everything you're sharing in there is factual and it's how you would teach it, right? Like, make sure you're using it as an assistant, because otherwise you're just going to create a bunch of AI slop that nobody's going to buy, and I do not want that for you. But if you're brand new to selling digital products, I would highly recommend either doing a workshop or an ebook. These are the quickest and easiest to get started with and start making sales with. Now, really quickly, let's run through how I actually sell my digital products. I want to take you through and show you my funnel, if you will. Now, my funnel starts with YouTube, no surprise, right? I'm sure a lot of you watching this video are probably new to my channel. Hello, nice to meet you. And so I put out these videos every single week. And then what I do is I mention freebies throughout the video, just like I've done in this video. And so people will go to the description, they'll get the freebie, they put in their name and email address so that the freebie is delivered to them, and they're also getting on my email list. So what I'm doing there is I'm moving my YouTube viewers to email subscribers. Why? Because email converts 40 times more to sales than social media alone. Then I focus on writing emails to move my email subscribers to my checkout page so that I can actually get sales. So listen, I know business is not easy, but it is this simple, okay? Truly, I make sales just by YouTube, freebies, email list, checkout page. YouTube, freebies, email list, checkout page. That's it. Again, I know business is not easy. It's a lot of work. If it was easy, everyone would be a millionaire, right? It's definitely not easy, but it is that simple. Stop trying to overcomplicate it. Choose one of these digital products. These are ones that I all sell. I teach all about how to create and sell these in my membership Freedom Creator Club. I also just shared with you my exact funnel of how I make these sales. So get out there, start posting videos, make your digital product, and start making sales. And if you have found yourself making excuses like,
well, it's too saturated, or sales are just slow because it's summer, or people just aren't really buying right now,
I want to challenge you to kick that mindset to the curb. Remember, any type of digital product will sell as long as it solves a real problem for a real person. And of course, you can use Canva and ChatGPT to help you create and sell any of these digital products. It has literally never been easier and more cost-effective to get started. So what are you waiting for? And now that you know my favorite 5 unsaturated digital products, you might be wanting to know what 5 digital products don't sell anymore so you can avoid them. But how do you do that? Well, it all starts with watching this next video here, because when you pair what you just learned with what's in this video, it's going to be way more powerful. See you in the next video.